Now, in this diagram, I would like to note an important point which I haven't discussed yet. There is a concept in your book Langman, according to which the concept of muscle development, according to which it's actually the new concept of muscle development, the recent one, and it is based on the embryological origin of the muscles. Okay, so this concept says that the region around the neural tube and the notochord that contains the cells derived only from the paraxial mesoderm, which was originally present over here, right? Paraxial mesoderm was present in this entire region, right? These all these cells which have been derived only from the paraxial mesoderm, this entire region is known as the prime axial domain. Prime axial domain. And the region on the lateral side, right over here at the point where I've drawn this demarcation, there is a line, a boundary, which is known as the lateral, uh, it is known as the frontier, or the lateral somatic frontier, lateral somatic frontier. And just a few minutes ago, I told you that the ventrolateral myotomal cells, they migrate into uh, the somatic layer, or the parietal layer of the lateral plate mesoderm. This region, from onto the left side of this boundary, onto the left side of this lateral somatic frontier, this entire region, it contains a mixed population of cells. Okay, it contains mixed cells. It contains cells from both paraxial mesoderm, which have migrated from the ventrolateral myotome. Okay, and it also contains cells from the from the lateral plate mesoderm itself, the somatic layer, lateral plate mesoderm. So this region, which contains the mixed population of cells, the region containing mixed population of cells, is known as the abaxial domain. Abaxial domain. So according to this concept, the muscles, they develop by dividing themselves into these two domains. Okay, the primaxial domain and the abaxial domain. The primaxial domain contains cells only from the paraxial mesoderm, whereas the abaxial domain contains a mixed population of cells from the two types of the mesoderms, from the paraxial mesoderm, which, to be more specific, are from the ventrolateral myotome, and from the lateral plate mesoderm, which is to be more specific, the somatic layer of the lateral plate mesoderm. Okay, so mixed population and the primarily the paraxial mesoderm. This prime actually is from the term primary. Okay, so it's this is the region where most of the cells, actually all of the cells, not most, all of the cells are primarily derived from the mesoderm that is located next to the axial line, or the midline. Okay, which in other words, they're talking about the paraxial mesoderm. So this is an important concept of muscle development. Actually, the more recent concept, the new concept of which is based on the embryological development of the muscles. Okay, and it's present in Langman, your book Langman's Embryology. Basically, it's in 14th edition of Langman. Now, coming to the a bit older concept of muscle development. Okay, before we come to the old concept of muscle development, I've made some all the discussion that I did over here. I've noted the discussion down in a few points. So let's go over them quickly. You guys can note them down if you want. Okay. So Okay, so basically we discussed this let's start from this green paragraph. Okay, so initially when the somites are made, they are ball-like in shape as shown in the image. I showed you the image in the beginning, right over here, this one. This image has also been taken from your book Langman, okay? So you guys can view it again. Then moving on, uh, then they undergo the process of epithelialization and migrate to surround a small cavity to form a donut-like shape next to a developing neural tube. Okay, so basically we've discussed this part as well, and I'll show you on the diagram. Okay, it's right over here. Stop. Okay, this region over here, this is the donut shaped ring like structure which surrounds the small white cavity, and this is made by the somites that surround the donut shaped cavity. So it's this process that we are talking about in this paragraph. Then the cells present in the ventral somite wall, basically this part over here, the ventral part, and the medial wall, the part which is next to the neural tube, it undergoes de-epithelialization. It changes its shape back and become mobile, and they start migrating, and they become mesenchymal tissue, and they form the sclerotome. Okay, so these parts, they actually kind of imagine this part to be breaking out of here and forming all these cells over here. Okay, and these cells are the sclerotomal cells, the blue ones over here. This sclerotome is what gives rise to the tendons and the axial skeleton. Then cells in the dorsomedial and ventrolateral edges of the upper region of the somites form the precursor of the muscle cells, the myotomal cells. Okay, so it's these two ends that we are talking about now. We've talked about them as well in the beginning or in the previous lecture maybe. Now, cells in the okay, then the somites present in between the myotomes form the dermatome, which gives rise to the dermis of the back. Okay, we've talked about this one as well. And then the myotomes, the somites, they form both the ends. From the ends, they migrate underneath the dermatome, forming the dermomyotome. Okay, dermomyotome is made this way right over here. We've labeled it. Then in addition, the cells from the ventrolateral end of the myotome, the antral, the parietal or the somatic layer of the lateral plate mesoderm to form the musculature of the body wall and the limb musculature. Okay, that region is known as the abaxial mesoderm or abaxial domain basically. Right over here, the region which contains the cells from both the ventrolateral myotome and the cells uh, from the lateral plate mesoderm itself. Okay, so both of them, they form a mixed population of cells over here. And right over here, the population of cells is primarily derived from the paraxial mesoderm, and that's the region that's the domain that's called the primaxial domain. So we've discussed them, and I have given you the notes as well right over here. That was the new concept of muscle development. Now coming to the old concept. Okay, the old concept is pretty simple. The old concept is just two lines that you need to understand. It's based on the functional innervation of the skeletal muscles. You guys know that uh, the spinal nerve, it innervates both the front side of the body, the ventral side of the body, and it innervates the back side of the body, the dorsal side of the body, right? The muscles on the ventral and on the dorsal side. So basically those muscles which are innervated by the primary ramus of the spinal nerve, the dorsal rami of the spinal nerve, okay, the primary dorsal primary rami of the spinal nerve, that region of the muscles is known as the epimere, whereas muscles of the limbs and the body wall which are innervated by the ventral primary rami, they are known as the hypomere. Okay, you guys are very well aware about the branches of the spinal nerve. There are two main branches, the ventral branches. Okay, several ventral branches coming in front, and several ventral branches go dorsal branches going on to the back side. So now the ventral primary rami, they innervate a certain number of muscles, and the dorsal primary rami, they innervate certain number of muscles. Those muscles which innervate the dorsal aspect or the dorsal muscles, okay, for example this extensor muscle of the spine, those muscles are given the name epimere. Okay, they whereas whereas the muscles in front are given the name hypomere. Okay, so epimere, hypomere, back side, front side. Epi is actually the top side. So this is the top side, this is the bottom side. So that's the epimere muscle, and the rest of the muscles in front, the trunk muscles or the side muscles, they are the hypomere muscles. Okay, so just all I want you guys to know from here is that the meaning of epimere and hypomere as when it comes in relation to muscles. Okay, so the muscles innervated by the dorsal primary ramus is known as the epimere, and the muscle that is innervated by the ventral primary ramus is known as the hypomere. That's all from this slide.